Everyone, I hope you are well and blessed. I wanted to record this properly with the camera, but at the same time, a few things are going on. So I wanted to give some predictions, political, economy, very short for several countries, regions, from now, sort of October, and it's the end of October, we are the 27th, until February 2026, and obviously I'll have updates. Just not sure to share something or not. Anyway, let's get back to this video. So firstly, I understand that there's been a government shutdown or shutdown of the White House. I'm not really sure what's happening, but off that, I see something of like security measures around aircrafts or airports. Now that's come in my prediction, so that's still coming up, but there's something that ties into this government shutdown. And I wanted to pull cards on the white hatters as well. There's something there. The other thing is, when I think of the US, I mean, obviously in England it's the season to buy stuff for Christmas, but in the US there's Thanksgiving, isn't there? And I think you have like a Black Friday or a couple of weeks, because I remember when I was there and I was in New York and it was around my birthday time. So retail really needs to do well for people's jobs, but also just for the economy. And when I think of it, obviously kids stuff and a lot of stuff is from China, and then there's the inflation and tariffs, so I'm not really sure how that's going to be working out. But if you're in the US, you might be able to enlighten me. So there's an annoying kid crying outside. Just label the kid annoying, and I don't even know the kid. But perfect timing. So, we're going to continue to see power and ego struggles dominating the world leadership. And, from October, end of October into Feb 2026, we as the world will move through correction before the balance occurs. Now, I've got a couple of notes here that I've got sort of channeled. And me and this pillow are like, the pillow is balancing on my head and I'm balancing against it so it doesn't fall. Because basically there's some light coming in and the camera wasn't focusing. And I just couldn't move. So the US, America is going to be facing big market swings and political tension. I've mentioned tech before, and tech and trade issues are going to rise again with China. We mentioned this in my predictions. I'm saying it again. Gold, I think, tends to stay strong around the world. But the dollar may weaken December or after December. So we have to look out for that, because obviously currencies in general then get affected as well. Canada, I don't know what's happening in Canada, but I do feel there's a issue around. So in Canada, I feel there's a issue around the housing market and potentially some debt pressure. I don't know what that is, but yeah, housing market debt pressure. But I think your energy and metal exports are going to grow. And if you know where you export to and where your trade is around those elements, let me know. It will stay stable overall. Canada will stay stable, but it's going to be very cautious. And I think there might be a tightening on immigration rules, things around that for Canada. And then if we go on to China, I think underlining for China, it is shaky. I think the economy looks a bit shaky underneath the surface of like looking strong. The trade restrictions may increase and property debt issues are coming up. I think the stock market may struggle until early 2026 as well for China. Then obviously we have India. I mentioned India in the time frame, and I think India's going to start to pull a bit brighter, and you're going to start to see how actually it has got a foot somewhere between all these power countries. The economy and trade grow fast. I think I mentioned the tech last time and where it will be attacked. New global partnerships. I think their stock market is going to stay quite strong, and I think there's going to be some profit taking coming in for them or through for them by the year end possibly. So that's India. Europe, I think, is going to face a shutdown. There's going to be worry around energy and energy resources. Some protests are coming up, policy conflicts, rewriting and arising of conflicts, especially because of the economic growth that is weakening and is already weak. So there's going to be also a slow growth lead by France and Germany. So if we think of Russia, they are going to be gaining power through energy and resource. And if you've not seen the previous predictions where I was mentioning of the political leaders' strategies and what they're trying to do, like control Russia, disputing petrol to various countries. And I think Qatar, although they got BOMB by the country's leader, I think they're taking a lead on the Arab countries in terms of this negotiation of Palestine and country Lee supposed peace talks. They're, leading some reins there, which I find interesting. But yeah, Russia power through the energy and energy resources and possibly metals or gold exports. Relationships with China and area. So relationships with China and other countries in Asia will get stronger or deepen. Let's say stronger is a bit too deep for these political people. But I see military and even cyber or cyber surveillance flaring up with the US, Ukraine and NATO kind of allies, as well as those countries. Overall, I think we're looking at the US is a bit sideways. There's mild fear cycles coming up for kind of the equities. Yeah, US and Europe, like a sideways bearish on it's going to create fear cycles. Crypto is volatile, speculative, but then there's an exaggerated kind of sentiment towards crypto. Oil and energy, which I've mentioned in this, I think is going to be mixed because of the different countries, policy confusion, the winter demand for energy. Think of the UK and what they're doing around that. The US dollar is going to be choppy, and I think it's going to cause a bit of distorted trust by seeing that choppiness on the US dollar. And I think that can also cause fear, because when it's strong, the economy is too.